If you're watching this, you are either a teacher, you support Indigenous causes, or you may even be ex-evangelical or even openly minded Christian. Either way, this video is for you. Why those groups? Well, that'll be evident in a minute. The Department of Interior dropped their final report on their investigation into Indian boarding schools. The Indian boarding schools that were federally funded but largely operated by church entities. If you are on your deconstructing journey, you need to know about this history. It's important for everyone to know about this history, but you especially, yes. The 105-page report, which I am currently reading right now, was penned by the Secretary of Indian Affairs. The second volume of the investigation adds to previously reported figures to paint an increasingly clearer picture of the Indian boarding school system. Between 1871 and 1969, the federal government paid more than $23 billion in inflation-adjusted dollars to fund the federal Indian boarding school system, as well as other similar institutions. Of the 417 boarding schools across the 37 states identified by the investigation, about half were run by a religious institution, and most used the manual labor of American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian children to compensate for the poor conditions of school facilities and lack of financial support from the U.S. government. Found at least 18,624 students entered the system, and at least 973 students died while at the school. The investigation also found that at least 74 school burial sites were associated with the institutions, though the Department of Interior expects that number of students, student deaths, and burial sites and funds spent on the schools to be far greater. The report is urging for more investigation and more power to go deeper. S-1723 is a bill that is making its way through the Senate right now. It would have subpoena power to compel records from private institutions like churches. But I need two things from you right now. One, I need you to be willing to bear witness to this information and be willing to teach those in your life as well. Two, I need you to help support S-1723 as a piece of legislation. Contact your senators to support the bill and share all content that you see being posted about this. If you go to my page, my recent posts talk a lot about this. I have a whole playlist dedicated to more information on it. The other topic that I want you all to pay attention to is the Lost Alaskans Project. Alaskans Project would be considered one of the other similar institutions. My dad works in repatriation for our tribe, and he's been consulting on the project. It looks at the history of Morningside Hospital in Portland, Oregon. The history overlaps with Indian boarding schools. It is also important for you to understand what happened. My playlists are linked right here. This one will talk about the Lost Alaskans Project. This is the beginning of that playlist. If you want more information and more resources, I have them linked up here. Right now, the ask is that people know what happened. And for context, my grandmother survived Indian boarding school. I found her name in the National Digital Archives. I'm doing everything I can to make the content and get the word out, but I need help sharing it. Please amplify.